Hello, everyone. Welcome back. MTL Sports here, episode 120. Getting up there in NFL season, NBA season also trailing right behind. So we won't give you the double whammy today. We got NFL Week 6 games of the week, but also we got NBA season. Like I said, 12 days away. So we're gonna go through the Eastern Conference, the Atlantic Division today. Then we got the Sixers, we got the Knicks, we got the Celtics, Raptors, all that good stuff. So we'll break down those teams and how we feel like their season is going to pan out. But let's get to it. You guys. We're back. Let's kick off NFL Week 6 games of the week. First, I feel like we should probably break down some NFL news though. Not Aaron Rodgers, but the Jets. We're a couple days behind this, but the Jets, they fired Robert Saleh. Lawrence, quick thoughts on this, and then today it came out that Nathaniel Hackett, he's still the OC, but he's not calling plays apparently. I wonder how that's going to go. Your thoughts on this?
Well, first off, the whole point of him getting fired was 100% Aaron Rodgers. Whether they want to twist it like that way or not, but he hadn't done enough yet to be fired, and he was let go. So I honestly
Mm-hmm.
don't believe you could blame it all on him, or even half of it on him. But I think they're trying to, or they tried to play it off as. Um, yeah, but it's like you fired your defensive head coach for the offense not being able to produce. So obviously the defense was there. I mean, you can also say they fired him because they're the most penalized team in the league, pretty much. But regardless,
Yeah.
he didn't really warn enough to get fired. And then Hackett getting pushed off his offensive coaching duties, and play calling. I mean, that's the whole reason why Aaron Rodgers likes him. So what's the point of him being there now if he's not even calling the plays?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, to me, that makes sense. I guess it's like let's not piss Aaron Rodgers off all the way, right? Like maybe if we do good, he'll come back for another year. But
What do
I mean,
you?
at this point, I feel like the experiments failed. Like he was out last year, and this year they look like they suck. So to me, it looks like a lost cause.
Because in one way or another, it is a lost cause. I mean, he's not the quarterback he used to be. His escapability is pretty much gone, which is part of what Aaron Rodgers' whole kind of shtick was. He could always seem to get out just a little bit in order to make the play happen, and just currently it's just not that way, and the offensive line is just not able to hold up in order to keep him upright and even have the ability to make a play.
Yeah, offensive line is terrible. Like you said, his capability is not there. I would even say his arm power is not there. I feel like it's not as accurate. Look at that pick he threw, the very last one at the end of the game. He usually makes that throw 99% of the time, but it like he threw it inside shoulder instead of outside shoulder. I feel like that's a very easy Aaron Rodgers type throw, and he just completely missed it. So I don't know. I think the writing's on the wall on this one. I think you just gotta ride with what you got this season, and then just start over next year. I don't think it's gonna work out. I think that's all the news. Oh no. What's his name? Derek Carr is not going to play this week, right? So Spencer Rattler is going to play. At least going to start this week. I think Derek Carr might be out for a couple weeks. It says he's week to week, but I don't know. I saw another report that he's going to be out for at least 2 to 3 weeks. So how you feel about Spencer Rattler, Lawrence? During the preseason, he looked fine to me. Than the preseason. Now regular season, a whole different animal. But I don't know how you feel like he'll hold up. Will the Saints keep their momentum going?
I think it'll be. I think Spencer Rattler will be all right. I think he's gonna get thrown into the fire, real quick. Um, at least he had some time to learn in preseason, and he's gotten some time to watch throughout this season. But honestly, if you wanted me to tell you that, like, oh yeah, they're still gonna be fine. Honestly, I think this goes into the playing out that I kind of said the Saints weren't gonna be that good this year. They went off to a hot start, but overall, with the situation they're in now, they're just not a good team again. And they're kind of in the same boat I thought they would be. But I mean, they're gonna play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it's gonna be one of those like weird fluke games where Spencer Rattler keeps it close because it's like a divisional game, and then somehow, some way, the Broncos are gonna pull off another victory, and they're gonna end up being like 5-2 because one head coach is not gonna lose to his replacement, or not his replacement, but like his protege. Um, like Sean Payton's gonna win that one, and Bo Nix is gonna beat Rattler. And then you're looking at the Saints being 2-6, and the Broncos being, or sorry, Saints being 2-5, and the Broncos being 5-2. So that's how I'm looking at the next 2 weeks for the Saints to play out.
Okay, I like it. I like it. All right. With that being said, let's move on to week 6. First game is, we're recording on Thursday. We are just a day behind. I guess just quick predictions on this one, Lawrence. San Fran at Seattle. Uh, San Fran lost last week, and Seattle did as well. So, division game for both teams. How you feel like this one's going to play out?
Well, the way it's going to play out is 49ers going to keep it close. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored. I think the one thing that both teams allow to happen is airing out the ball. Uh, but the 49ers are definitely weak against running backs. So I think Kenneth Walker's going to have a lot through the air. Um, and then moving on, I think that's going to end like 26-23, 49ers late field goal kind of situation. I don't think the Seahawks are down bad. More of a desperate need to win, especially a divisional game.
All right, I like that. I guess the for me first game of the week. Um, let's see here. I'm gonna go with of course this is pretty much the obvious one here, but Washington at Baltimore. Battle of the 95 teams. Baltimore is only about an hour or so away from DC area. Both teams are playing pretty well right now. Jayden Daniels, if you haven't seen already, I think he's the number one quarterback rated through 6 week or through 5 weeks. Then a lot of the charts have Jayden Daniels, Joe Burrow, Lamar, Allen, and Mahomes in some type of order. But the fact that Jayden Daniels is a top 5 quarterback through 5 weeks is pretty impressive. I don't think anyone saw this coming. He's very accurate, very mobile. Makes very few mistakes. Seems very poised in the pocket. Leading this team to 4 wins this early on is pretty remarkable. I think the biggest takeaway that I'm going to give you guys is this will be a shootout. I don't think, both teams' defenses are horrendous. Both are bad against the pass. I think more so Washington is more vulnerable against the run. But I think with Washington being able to score so many points, I don't think that they'll, that necessarily will hamper their scoring efforts. I feel like, Jayden's escapability of the pocket, being able to get first downs. B-Rob, he's running the ball really well. He can catch too. Austin Eckler is, playing well, catching out the backfield. Scary Terry, finally, I feel like he's hitting his stride. Like he has, he's found his guy who's getting him the ball, making his job easier. So Scary Terry is just lighting it up. So I'm expecting a shootout. I would take the points all day. Now, if you want to, dial into the spread, you can do all that. But I'm at least taking the points. And I feel like Baltimore wins this just because it's at home. And they typically play well against NFC opponents. Look at last year against, they whooped San Fran at home. They whooped, Detroit at home. I don't think they're going to whoop Washington, but I think they'll put a beat down on them. Not whooping, but I think they'll beat them down enough to get this dub.
Okay, I agree, but so you said that nobody really thought Washington was going to be in this situation, but I do remember when I was making my predictions. I said Washington was going to be a sleeper, and I did say that
Yeah.
we should be looking out for Daniels to have like a RG3 kind of rookie season, and I did kind of say if Washington got a kicker, they'd probably win in the NFC East. So I'm saying it looks really good from my point of view right now.
It does. Hey, you said all those things before anybody else said it, and at the time I agree with you, but I didn't see it happening this early. I didn't foresee him just being this good this soon. I thought it was gonna be more of a late season thing, but yeah, you're definitely right.
I just think his weapons have played good for him. But moving on to like another game, just like this one, I think it's going to be a fun one. I think it's going to get one team right this season that has been wrong, or just been on the wrong side of it on different scales. I mean, they got blown out, they've lost close ones, but I think Jacksonville playing the Bears in London, and Jacksonville's like this adopted, like they are the London team. Like people, like they played in London pretty much every year. They know how to get to London and play well, more so than other teams do. And Jacksonville's 1-4, and they gotta like get a move on real quick. Trevor Lawrence is getting those hate mails saying he's just a Danny Dimes, and that's not boo. That's not sitting well in his stomach. We're just gonna put it like that. And for the matchup predictor to have the Bears being a 60% chance to win, and it's only
Yeah.
a pick 'em, I'm going Jacksonville all day, taking it to the bank, flipping my money because it's an even spread, or even money line. So I put 100, I get 100, easily taking it to the bank because Jacksonville's going to take this one, and it's going to be completely low scoring, beat them up, 16-13. Jacksonville wins. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to just have a little bit more plays, and honestly, the Bears' defense is really, really phenomenal, and their special teams, and that's what's going to keep them close. I feel like this Caleb Williams have too many good games in consecutive. Yeah, he lost one and then he won one, but he looked good in both. I think it comes to an end and he gets more of a rough go of it.
Okay, fair enough. London game early on a Sunday morning, 9:30. You guys got to wake up early again. I know I will. I'll definitely check this one out. Um, Second game for me, I'm gonna go Cleveland Philly. Now I think this is this is potentially a get right for both teams. Both teams have not played well. Philly lost late, let Atlanta come back and beat them. Um, then they got their ass beat by Tampa, which I did not see coming. But hey, things happen, right? You have a bad Sunday, things like that might happen. Then the Browns, all around, have not looked good. O line troubles. Deshaun, it's not looked like Deshaun. The run game has not developed. I don't know what's going on. A lot of people don't know what's going on, right? So, opportunity for a get right game. We're in Philly. Um, Now, how do I say this? I think for the Browns, right, Deshaun has to play well. Right, I feel like if he has one more blunder of a game, I feel like this might be the end of his season. They might just pull out the red carpet for Jameis or maybe even DTR. Who knows? How will they go from here? But if he doesn't play well, it might as well be the last you see of Massage Watson in Cleveland. Um, so I feel like maybe some of that pressure will enable him to play better. And then on the Philly side, you definitely can't take a loss. You go down 2-3 in this division, with Washington and Dallas ahead of you. Dallas plays the Lions at home, so who knows if they'll be able to pull that out. But still, you lose this game, you're still behind them. It's not a good look, right? Um, so I think this is a get right game for Hurts. Make sure you hold on to the ball, don't turn it over. Saquon, you gotta get going early. You can't wait till the second half to start getting your good carries and good yards and stuff like that. And the defense has to play well, have to be able to keep Cleveland from not being able to run the ball, even though they haven't been able to do that all season anyway. But you still can't let them start getting right with you. Um, so yeah, I think it's gonna be low scoring, unless the Eagles just full out blitz them and just put up points, which they can. But I don't think the Cleveland defense will bend like that, especially after last week. Hopefully they don't bend over like that, but who knows? This Cleveland team is very, 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 very weird spot. So, but I got a feeling this one.
I mean, I don't hate your pick at all. Um,
What you got for us? The second game of the week.
Packers can do. I think there's a lot of value in this game. I think the Cardinals are not a team to be slept on, and I think Green Bay might take them for granted this weekend because Green Bay has looked vulnerable at certain points in time of the season. Um, I think the Green Bay Packers win it, but I don't think it's going to be by 4.5. I think the good play is taking Arizona. I think Arizona has a good chance to win, so maybe sprinkle a little bit on the money line because like Arizona's like that dynamic team on offense that if you're not completely bought into, they scare you and they beat you.
Yeah.
And one thing about Green Bay is so far offensively, it's looked good, but it hasn't looked great. Not everything looks like it's plugged in all the way, and the defense has been kind of holding them up. And your defense can only do it for so many games for so long. Now, I understand that the Packers, they came back and they almost beat the Vikings. And the defense just had a dud. I mean, it can easily happen again. But I'm thinking the Cardinals, especially with Kyler, I just think Kyler's been having a really good start to the season. They can run the ball. So far, the Packers haven't really gotten the ball in the end zone using the running game. And I feel as if sometimes Green Bay gets too one dimensional trying to pass it all the time. Like the run game can work, but when it starts to fail them on drives, they just get away from it.
Yeah, I have that same sentiment. I feel like they're kind of in the position. Well, I feel like the run game's probably better than Cincinnati's, but they're definitely in the position of, yeah, let's boost Jordan Love's stats whenever we can, just to show that hey, we know this kid's good. Let's get him an MVP discussion. I feel like that's kind of how they treat Jordan Love. At least that's how it feels through 5 games.
Yeah, because Malik Willis didn't look that bad when he was in there. But the one thing he did was he would run the ball a little more.
Yeah, honestly he looked really good. I mean, not good enough to take Jordan Love's job, but if he can do that in Green Bay, I don't see why Malik Willis can't do that anywhere else. That needs a at least quality backup, if not lower end starter. I don't know.
He kind of just made it. He kind of proved the point that it's not me. It was where I was. It was in Tennessee. I never got
Yeah,
any belief in me. Give me a chance for people to believe in me, and this is what I'll present to you. And it's a good product.
yeah, definitely proved a lot of people wrong. For me, last game of the week, we gotta go Sunday night football. Cincinnati, we in New York, I guess New Jersey. Uh, just going straight up, take the Bengals in this one. They played well last week, just not well enough, good enough to win. Botch, field goal, hold, lack of aggressiveness from Zach Taylor in the final drive in overtime. So I'll come back to haunt them, but not this week. I feel like the offense won't. Giants defense has been playing well. I think everyone's kind of overhyping them a little bit on the defensive side of the ball. I feel like Cincinnati is just too much of a juggernaut to just get slowed down by a Giants team who, play well on defense, kind of find their way on offense. I don't feel like this is the week that this is a trap game or, offense slows down. I feel like keep on kicking the ball down the road. They're going to put up 30 plus against this defense. No doubt about that. It's just hopefully the defense can hold their end of the bargain. Don't make Danny Dimes look like the second coming of Eli or something like that. Because Malik Neighbors, I think, is still in concussion protocol, so he won't have his go-to rookie receiver. He's going to have to make do with what he has. And if you can just get some pressure on Danny Dimes, he's going to make some mistakes. So just going to look for the defensive line to generate some pressure for once, get a sack or two, maybe a fumble, maybe a couple interceptions, force. But Bengals win, move on to 2-4, and look forward to next week against the Browns. That's what I got.
So you're hoping for like a down the road, long term, get the let's get our shit straight kind of thing. I got you. Let's just put a few wins together and let's see how it can mold from there.
Yeah, the goal is to get back to 500, and well, we never were 500, but let's get to 500, and then let's evaluate from there. All right, that's the goal. That's the goal. That's what we look forward to doing.
Well, I think I already alluded to my number three earlier when I said they're going to end up being 5-2 in the coming weeks. So I'm going to go ahead and place it right now again. The Broncos are playing the Chargers. Um, I think defensively, the Chargers need to get into games right now that are not divisional games. They need to get outside of their own, I guess. Like John Harbaugh needs a string of games where people don't know his players very well. He can have a little bit of advantage game planning, but when you play your divisional guys, majority of the time the team that's been set in stone or like built up for longer tends to do better, which would be about the Broncos. They have their second year with this coach. Chargers on the first. Herbert's a little banged up. Broncos have looked strong. Their defenses look good. If we say the Achilles here for the Chargers is offensively, they can start flat. And if they start flat, can they get it going? So with all that being, the Broncos move on, win the game, start 4-2, take on the Saints, 5-2. We're talking Denver being a real competitor for the Chiefs at this point. The only competition they have, and it's all because of the defense. And I think this is the Broncos team we're going to see this season. It's going to be completely reliant on the defense. The defense is either going to allow them to have a chance in the game, or it's going to blow it up early that they don't have a shot in the dark at all. Because I don't think Bo Nix is strong enough on his own to control a game. He he's completely reliant on his defense to make him in the game.
Yeah, I echo everything you said. I feel like Bo Nix is just not there as a starter yet. He's good enough to start. Yes, he's a rookie. Yes, but can he, take over and effectively game manage? No, not yet. Not yet, people. Yeah, I think that's all the games I had for this week. A couple. I think we got 4 teams on the bye this week, so games are lacking a little bit. And the Jets play Monday night versus the Buffalo Bills for first place of that division. So if there's any honorable mention, it's probably that one. Just to see how they look after, first game after their head coach Robert Saleh got fired. So look forward to that, ladies and gents. But switch over to some NBA. Like
Some
I said,
NBA.
we're gonna start in the Atlantic Division. 12 days away, guys. I can't wait. Love me some NBA. A lot of shakeup in this Atlantic Division. Now the champs. Let's start with them. We're gonna do a similar format to how we did NFL, right? We're gonna do predict the record. I guess we can do the predict the division winner, even though division is nowadays in the NBA more of just a consolation prize. Doesn't really mean too much after they kind of changed the rules of division winners and playoff spots. They changed that years ago, but I guess we can do that, and then just give an overall overview of how the season's going to go. But defending champs, Boston Celtics, everyone's re-signed Lawrence. No one left or departed, I think. To me, honestly, I think they're going to win 60 games again, and I could very easily see them in the Eastern Conference Finals. There's a couple teams that could meet them there, but in terms of definitively one team that's going to get there, it's going to be the Celtics. I mean, look at this. Look at the starting roster. Pretty much impeccable. No complaints about the starters. Big Al's getting up there. Um, Porzingis. I don't know if he's going to be there to start the season because of his surgery on his ankle. Right, he messed up his ankle in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
So he might not be there to start the season, but he should be back sometime this year. But as constructed, they're gonna be pretty dangerous. I got them winning 60 plus games. I'll go on the record and say 60-22. They're gonna win at least 60 games. So I got them going 60-22. Best record in the East this season, I believe. And yeah, they're gonna kick some butt again.
All right. Well, I'm not going to do the whole how many games they're going to win. I'm going to base it more on playoffs or no playoffs. And the Boston Celtics are definitely, I think, a guaranteed top three seed in the Eastern Conference. No doubt, no matter in my mind at all, Boston Celtics will be a top three seed. I think picking up Lonnie Walker in the offseason was a good move. I think it just adds bench depth, which it's not really a necessity, but I feel like it gives you good strength over the season um, to rack up wins. Your starters don't have to play 32 minutes a game a night like some other team starters have to play in order to win. If I can get, you know, Jaylen Brown playing 28 to 30 a night, and Lonnie Walker's playing the rest in those positions, by all means, I'm gonna roll with it. I'm gonna do it. So, I agree with you. The Celtics will be strong again this season.
All right, good stuff there. Next on the list, we got the Brooklyn Nets. They went full rebuild. No, I mean that was pretty obvious decision right there. They tried 1 year without KD and Kyrie. Didn't look too good, even though for whatever reason they thought they could make it work with Mikal Bridges and what's the
Cam,
other guy's name and Cam. They just didn't have enough firepower, and then Ben Simmons just didn't look like Ben Simmons. For whatever reasons, they thought that team could compete. It could not, and so they started having a fire sale. Got their picks back, so they are allowed to be bad for this upcoming season. The tank off for Cooper Flag is real, y'all, and they will be in the hunt. So no playoffs for them. I got them winning 20 games. They probably go 20-62. They're just not really good, and they still gonna have a fire sale. Some of these players you see on this depth chart right here will not be there at the end of the season. I could easily see Finney Smith getting moved. Cam's probably gonna get moved. Even a team that needs a veteran point guard like a Dennis Schroeder could be moved at some point. This team's just gonna focus on stacking draft picks and tanking. I mean, that's all they can really look forward to. And maybe Ben Simmons shows up better than ever, but I wouldn't count on that. How you feel about the Nets, Lawrence?
well, I don't really need to add anything. You kind of just said it all. It's Cooper Flag or bust. We're going to lose as many games as possible. Half the young starters we have on the team at the moment won't be there at the end. Um, I think a team that needs a big halfway through the season is going to go for Nick Claxton, just because I feel like he can solidify a big spot. So I'm in total agreement with you.
Yeah, I agree. Nick Claxton could be on the move as well. Next up, the New York Knicks. Now we just talked about the Knicks. What, a week or two ago, Lawrence, when they made that trade for Cat. Came out today. Shams first. I guess what are we calling them? Shams bombs or whatever. I don't know what the internet's calling them, but his first official day at ESPN, he dropped that Mitchell Robinson will not be starting the season. He's looking forward to debuting sometime in January. So they don't have a true center on their roster per se, which is, at least to me, pretty concerning. So I guess they're just going to roll with, Cat playing center and then Precious just backing up, playing the backup big role. And they'll kind of just go from there. They do have Jericho Sims. I like him, but in very little small amounts of time, I feel like a full time big is not where he's at right now in his development. But the Knicks, hey, they're pretty good. The starting lineup arguably is the best in the NBA, if not at least the Eastern Conference. I feel like they match up pretty not pretty well, damn well with the Celtics, right? Cat on Porzingis. You know, you got OG, you got Josh Hart, Mikal. They can guard, the good wing players, Jalen Brown and Tatum. I feel like the only weak spot defensively is Jalen Brunson. I feel like teams will pick on him because he's just, a shorter guy, not really known for his defense, but they definitely can score with the best teams, and I feel like they can defend with the best teams. So um, I got them finishing third seed in the East. I don't feel like they're quite as good as the Sixers, but I feel like if things go their way, they could find themselves in the Eastern Conference Finals. I know that much. How you feel about the Knicks, Lawrence?
I think the Knicks are. I'm going to have them sitting around the fifth seed. I just think
Oh, why
personally,
so low?
I just think personally they have too many moving parts. Like, like the whole team is just kind of. It just feels redone. It just feels like a complete. They took a few pieces and it hit okay blank canvas. And I think the fact that they
You
don't have a
know,
true big and they're not going to get it until late in the season, I think it's going to be a struggle early on. Straight up, first couple weeks, we're gonna have you know media going crazy. Did the Knicks blow it? The Knicks don't look that great, and everyone's gonna be like, relax. They're gonna eventually make it there. They're gonna get their stuff together, and it's gonna take a good quarter of the season to start having the pieces go in their direction. I mean, we knew the Knicks last year as being a deep team, had a bunch of players on it that were really good. Now they lost a lot of their depth to get this certain just a little bit better pieces because they're not always injured. We also got to remember Cat consistently gets injured just like Randall, so it's not a complete
yeah.
change for change. So I feel like the Knicks are going to be kind of around 500, and then they're going to have a late season push or a mid-season push, and it's going to lock them around the fourth or fifth spot.
Okay, fair enough. I did not expect that out of you. That is it's a bold prediction right there.
It's just the
Um,
depth and like how much they lost of it.
yeah, with that, I agree with that part. I feel like giving up DiVincenzo was a little bit too much for them. I feel like he was a good piece for them. We'll see how they fare without him, though. Moving on, we got the 76ers, another team that made a lot of moves this offseason, right? They moved on from James Harden last year, moved on from Tobias Harris, um, cleared up a lot of cap space, right? They went out, got Paul George. They re-signed Tyrese Maxey to a big deal. I think Joel eventually committed to a 2 year extension to his contract, I believe. Uh, Stole Caleb Martin from the Heat, but he deserves the money he got. Re-signed Kelly Oubre, got Aaron Gordon, re-signed Kyle Lowry. I think all in all, I feel like Sixers with all the moving parts that they have, Lawrence. I feel like they're still, they're gonna be a good spot. I feel like Paul George, if he can just do anything more than Tobias gave them on a night in, night out basis, they would be exponentially better. Because when you look at it, Lawrence, all we asked from Tobias from the past, we've been doing this for almost 2 years now. We both just asked, hey, Tobias, can you just give us 15 and 8? Some nights he could, but on most nights he could not. So if Paul George can just, if he can just do that, he doesn't even have to do, Clipper Paul George and give you 20 and 25, 20 and 6. If he can just give you 50, if he can just give you 17, 18, that's a win here. I feel like, he's up there in age. Can't can he, still give you 20? Yeah, but I feel like on this team, when you got a young guy like Tyrese, you got an MVP candidate in Joel, you don't need to be the old school Paul George where you have to lead your team in pretty much every statistical category. You got two guys that can already do it for you. So if he can just be competitive, play good defense, and then just show up when you need him to show up, Sixers are easily the second best team in the East. I hate to say that, but I, there's no way you can't look at the Sixers and say they're not the second best team in the East. I got them right behind the Celtics. They're probably gonna be about 50, anywhere from 56 to 58 games. But I feel like they still have a trade or two up their sleeve. So if they could bolster the depth a little bit more, I feel like that could easily push them into the 60 win category. But for right now, I got them at 56 at least, second seed in the East. They're gonna be very, very good, very, very good.
So I kind of think the opposite that I did against the Knicks. Even though this team has a lot of moving pieces, I just feel like the most important part is the two biggest scorers from last season are still there, and all they did was get
Yeah,
rid of, like you said, the dead weight that couldn't pull through. Um, and I
it's
honestly
true.
just another way to look at it is not going to say anything bad or wrong towards Embiid, but like it allows him to be a little bit more clutch at the end of a game, knowing that you got Maxi and Paul George kind of taking the eye off of you. Because another reason is Maxi has such an easier time at the close out game, looking more clutch because he has Embiid, and people always are their eyes glancing towards Embiid because there's an easy way he can just toss the ball over to him and just straight dunk. So people always got an eye looking over to Embiid whenever Maxi like moves the lane. So unless Maxi's getting a screen, and even when he's taking the screen, everyone's afraid to pick and roll to Embiid that he gets his open on the three. So Maxi's got it figured out. Now I think Embiid's gonna get it figured out because you have Paul George. It's not the dead weight of Tobias Harris. Please get us 15. Paul George quickly and easily get you 20, and you're barely even asking him to get you 20. I just need you to be relevant late in games. Um, take the eyes off Paul or take the eyes off Embiid, and if they decide to double one or the other, you got to get open.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I feel like this is the perfect place for Paul George, a team where he doesn't have to, you know, be that lead guy or even the second guy. He can just sit back and collect the scraps, and I feel like that's a good role for him. Um, I feel like he's going to be deadly in the role. I feel like not enough people are talking about it. I feel like the Sixers is going to be really good, y'all. Um, what we got left? We got the Raptors, the
Raptors.
baby Raptors. We got the baby Raptors. They're not going to be good. Honestly, not too much to say about them. They do got a good young core. They got Quickly. They got Grady Dick. They got RJ Barrett, who surprisingly has looked good in Toronto. Maybe because he's from Canada. Maybe he feels more comfortable playing there. But he's looked honestly really good in for the Raptors. Barnes, he's getting better every single year. Hopefully, this is a breakout All Star type year for him. Quickly, same thing for him. Hopefully, maybe a year removed from being traded, he'll become into maybe a 20 points and 6 assists, 7 assists type guy, maybe more. Davion Mitchell, who got moved from the Kings when they decided to bring in DeMar, maybe he can find a home here. So they got a lot of young pieces. No one should expect them to make the playoffs or anything. Now, play in, I feel like if everything clicks for them and everyone, maybe is ahead of schedule, maybe a play in is where they're at. But, I just wouldn't expect anything too big from them. They're definitely rebuilding. Now, are they bad enough for the Cooper Flag sweepstakes? I don't think so. I think for that to be, possible, they need to sell. And I feel like they're not in the spot to sell because they're probably like an all-star player away. And then eventually Scottie Barnes is probably going to be an all-star in a year or two. So you get two all-stars on your team, it's a whole different conversation. So I feel like they're not in the mode to sell at all this season. It's more of just let's see what we got. Let's see who breaks out this year and move on from there. So I got the Raptors, probably hanging around that play-in spot. So probably 10, 11 place in the East is probably where I got them.
Um, you know what? Like everything you're saying about all these guys finding a new home in this spot,
Yep.
it kind of rubs me in two ways, right? Either this team is going to break out and be a low seed, and you're saying playing, I'm also saying playing, but I'm thinking more around like the 8 or 9, just because it's a bunch of
Okay.
because it's young veterans. Like, if you look at the team, it's a lot of young veterans. Like, they've been around long enough
Yeah.
that they know the game, and they're also old enough where, like, I kind of prove something now, or I'm gonna people are gonna forget about me. Like Davion Mitchell, like he's gotta do something. Otherwise, he's just that other guy that was on the Kings. And he was just that other
Mm.
guy. Bruce Brown, yeah, he was just that guy. He was on that championship team, but like he was like the fifth guy. You know what I mean? And like, oh, Kelly Olynyk. Yeah, they got Kelly Olynyk, but like it's kind of old and washed at this point. Like, there's guys that kind of have to prove a point that like even if they want to get trade value, like we're talking about trade value here. So I want to get traded off this team because I don't know it's like um, it can sustain. It's
Yeah.
in my eyes, it's like the Utah Jazz from last year. This team is, in my opinion, is going to be kind of like the Utah Jazz of last year, right before the trade deadline, and it's going to be going back and forth in their heads. Do we blow it up? Do we let it ride? Do we get something for the future? Do we add on to what we already have for the future and get rid of some vets or younger vets? Like Jacopo, like easily someone who could get traded at the deadline. Yeah, he's good, but like a championship team who needs a center to make the push for the end, they could want him. And you give me some scrap pieces and a high draft pick, yeah, take him. Or I need a veteran on this team, on my team who can, who knows how to play in big moments. All right, here's a Bruce Brown. Now give me a bunch of picks. I think the Raptors are going to be last year's Utah Jazz, but I think the difference between the Raptors being Utah Jazz this year than last year is they're in the East and it's easier to move into the East than it is the West.
Yeah. The East is definitely the weaker of the two conferences. I mean, going back for a while now. So, yeah, I like how you put that. Definitely, there's a lot of guys who, if they want off this team, they're gonna have to put the work in and convince, I guess, the front office to, move them because they're, too valuable not to be moved, right? So, I definitely that's a thing we gotta look out for sure. Um, yeah, that's the Atlantic Division, y'all. Only 5 teams per division. On Monday we'll go through. We'll probably go through 2 divisions, so we'll probably switch over to the West, and then go through the Pacific and the Southeast, or the Pacific, and then what's another Western Conference? We'll probably go through the Pacific and Southwest. So be on the lookout for that for Monday, or I guess next Tuesday's episode. But yeah, that's our NBA preview. Like I said, 12 days before the season starts, so still got some time to get through these teams. Lawrence, anything you want to go over before we head on out?
No, I got some Thursday night football to watch, my guy. But I will throw a little thing out there right before we end about the UFC fights this weekend. I'm not gonna
Okay.
say that they're the best fights in the world. Um, by all means, we know they're not. But I think we have some fun ones in there. If I can pull it up, there we go. So for me, I'm really looking at the main event. I think the main event is slept on a little bit. Um, I think Royval can take him down and get rid of his perfect record because this guy has not proven anything. However, I think Tiaria probably wins by decision, so you can bet on that one. I have a feeling Park beats Brad, and Park's kind of a slight favorite at -190. So you can look for that. You also have to look at this. This is a card that's going to feature Daniel Rodriguez, um, in the second to the second main event. and I'm going to take him for a win as well. Just a few of them out there, not a whole lot of them. I don't know a lot of the people to start the card. Just straight up, not the most notable names.
Sounds good to me. Nothing else to have to go over myself. So with that being said, let's head on out. We got some Thursday night football to catch so that we can cover the game next week. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening on Spotify. All that good stuff. MTL Sports Podcast, y'all. Episode 120. We're going to head on out. You guys have a great weekend. Peace.
Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain.